DMT, DMD TV. Shout out to DMD TV. They said, where do you rank Kanye amongst the elites of hip hop, knowing you've ghostwritten for him?
I think you can't question his contribution to hip hop, though. The ghostwriter shit is the music business. It's part of the music business.
But don't you think that the top, like that should be taken into consideration?
Look, this is what I want
to say. As far as in hip hop.
But see, this is the thing, right?
Hip hop and the music business is.
You saying hip hop from a culture standpoint, right?
Right.
There's two hip hops. There's the culture of hip hop, and then there's the business of hip hop.
Well, that's the rap.
Problem, so
that's
here's
the rap
where the problem
business.
arises when you ask that question, right? The problem arises because when you overemphasize the culture, you privatize the business aspect of it. See, we don't ask Dolly Parton who wrote nothing. We don't even ask, did Patti LaBelle write it?
No, we do know. It's known that Dolly Parton has written a lot of shit. She wrote the shit for that whatchamacallit sang, Whitney Houston.
Look, this is what I'm trying to say. We know Luther Vandross was the ghostwriter, right?
Yeah.
That's if people don't know, Luther Vandross was the ghostwriter. Prince was the ghostwriter. You know what I'm saying? But they're not regarded as ghostwriters. They're regarded as songwriters. The ghostwriting thing means that you weren't credited and you for somehow missed a check or a credit. That's what the whole ghostwriter thing is.
No, you know a ghostwriter is when
in the business part.
Because in rap,
let me finish my thought real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So in the business part is what I'm describing. In the culture part is where it's like, no, but as a real rapper, you can't have somebody say, here, dude, this is your bars, where it's supposed to be from you and from the heart, right?
Mm-hmm. Because culturally, culturally, it's implied. See, it's not implied in R&B that everybody singing is writing their songs. There's songwriters and then there's songstresses. In hip hop, right? It's implied that the rappers saying this rap wrote this shit. Like that's something that's implied.
But that implication is backdated.
Well,
these little niggas don't. That implication is what you and I grew up off.
Because that's the foundation of it, and somewhere we went off track from that.
No, it's not that we went off track necessarily.
Well, no, you know what? There's been ghostwriters since the beginning. I'm not even gonna lie. There's been ghostwriters since the beginning.
Right.
There's been people writing shit for other people.
Hear me out.
Sugar Hill Gang.
Even like if you think about if you go back to like Sugar Hill and all that, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is, even in that instance, there's questions about crediting and so forth and so on in some of those instances. And for me, it's about it. The credit is what the ghostwriter term is sometimes thrown in the mix to credit the uncredited. You know what I'm saying? And the business aspect of that is where the poverty comes into play. Because most of the time, when you're speaking about these people, the money's not right. That's how it comes up in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when I compare it to other genres where somebody was credited and they received a royalty and they in a publishing deal, they're regarded as a songwriter and not a ghostwriter. Most of the time, a ghostwriter is somebody where it's like,
I don't agree with that, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're saying that a ghostwriter is someone who didn't get credit on a song. I'm saying that's sometimes the case, but also a ghostwriter in hip hop also is a songwriter, just like you're saying in other genres. Right. But what I'm saying in those other genres, you don't assume that they wrote the song that they're singing. That's the difference. In hip hop, and you can say that's an outdated thought, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be an outdated thought.
What I'm saying is it's not the only thought at this point. We have to be honest.
I feel you, and I feel you. But what I'm saying is, in hip hop, that has to be taken into consideration when we are rating our greats. I'm gonna put Jay-Z before a Drake. Why? Because I know, from what I know, now you could correct me if I'm wrong because you run in those circles, but from what I know, Jay-Z writes all his shit.
Right.
Now.
Well, he doesn't even write it per se, pad and pen.
He spits all, he creates all his shit.
It's all his.
Whereas Drake is dope. He can rap, but he doesn't write all his shit. There's been reference tracks of songs we've heard him make and all that type of shit that were written by other people. So now, and although he's a great entertainer, he got mad fucking hits. He's probably the only one that I can compare to a Jay-Z as far as hits wise goes.
Right. Well, see, the thing is also this, like, it's what you got into the. All right, so here's a fair question: do you think realistically that Drake came into the game to be the number one lyricist in rap? I don't believe that. I think I think his ambition may be number one artist.
Right. I don't think people came in to be true to the game. You see, they didn't come in to be like to do it. See, we did it with certain parameters, though.
No, I understand that, but those parameters,
and that's part of what made us great. That we knew we had to stay within these parameters. I can't act like this guy. I can't look like him. I can't rap like him. I gotta find my shit, and I gotta write my own shit. Like these are all parameters that when you talk about the greatest. Now you got people that's cheating. Like if we could have did that back then, if I could have hired, I had Grand Poobah and Sadat X. If I could have got these guys to write my raps and give me lines and shit like that, like come on, but we didn't do that type of shit.
Let me say this to you though. Right now, I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound. I wanted to make sure that I put a disclaimer out, like all due respect how I'm gonna frame this. Gotcha. Right now, look, I was in the Tribe Called Quest, right? Mm-hmm. In my business opinion, Tribe would have had a way longer run had they implemented more components to as big as a brand that they were. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know that they,
like what kind of components do you think?
Always retain 100% cultural integrity. But at the same time, if you have the opportunity, which many artists do not, you managed to transition and maintain your brand, your integrity into the future, right? We're guys from the 90s. Let's be honest, right? Mm-hmm. Groups like, let's say, like I said, a Tribe, even like, let's say, like I'll say even like a CL Smooth, right? Always had ear candy, voice, the production, along the lines, the rhymes kind of fluctuated as far as this, like Tribe, right? Probably the best rhymes are in between Low End and Midnight, right? Mm-hmm. Now, in the music business aspect of which I speak of, there would be no reason for them not to, at the level that they got to, toward the world, multi times over, platinum, not to implement nobody as far as from the writing aspect, even if you're not reading a script.
Why though? Why?
Because they burnt out.
Okay, let's just keep it real. Some people burn out. Okay, let's go.
How many artists have we watched burn out trying to do it all by themselves?
But they still got a brand. So you're saying that some people can burn out and they'll just need help at some point. That's what you're saying.
I mean, that's the business part of it. That's just the business part of it. That doesn't make you a lesser anything. In my opinion, it doesn't, because once you in the business, we're not rapping just on the corner no more. So, or maybe you need to go recharge on the corner. But some's gonna have to recharge when it gets to a point where it's like we're gonna turn one corner to the other. And there's no reason to have a brand that's viable and not continuously service that brand to your buying public.
Could you back up just a little? Your head's cut off a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
There's no reason not to do that. You know what I'm saying? And everything in life has give and take. You might lose a little bit of the integral part of what you used to do, but in the future, you got a payroll of 30, 40 people.
Right, and that's when it gets away from. That's when shit starts to get away from you. I understand.
But it doesn't
like
have
at some
to,
point,
though.
you
But
need the hits to keep coming. What if you a rapper has, he was writing the shit, and now all of a sudden he's got a writer's block. You know what I mean? That's some shit that's happened to people where they get writer's block. But now we still need the payroll to keep going, and we still need, there's a deadline for this album. That's where ghostwriters come in. And ghostwriters are not always people that didn't get credit and all of that. Sometimes they don't want the public to know that this motherfucker wrote the shit for them.
Yeah,
so it's a real hush. We bring him in on some hush hush shit. We're gonna make it seem like he wrote this, but really he didn't write it, and that's happened all the time. Like that's happened a lot.
But that's the privatized aspect of which I'm speaking about, because at the end of the day, that doesn't happen in other genres. That's what I'm trying to say. Like at the end of the day,
because in other genres, it's not implied that the artist wrote the lyrics. That's what I'm telling you. So you can't keep saying that. Stop saying that.
That's based. No, but I can, because that implication is based on a fan's perspective. What literally happens is what literally happens.
Wait, what do you mean? What perspective is based on
the
a fan's
perspective is, like you said, because of the implication of the foundation, because of the foundation's implications.
In any other genre, we know that most people don't write their own songs. Most people don't do that. Most people know that when they see somebody singing a song, they don't assume that they wrote it unless you hear that unless you hear that they're a singer songwriter. When someone's a singer songwriter, then you're like, okay, this person sings and writes their song. But when someone's just a singer, you don't assume because mad people.
I'm never until I did not
like Elvis wasn't writing songs.
Look. I didn't know until I did my homework that Michael Jackson didn't write.
Right.
But you have to do your homework for that. That's not an automatic assumption.
Well, here's the thing.
You got to remember, you and I are in music, so those implications that we are in tune with are not the general public.
Maybe I've studied music more than most people. Yes.
Drake. Most kids see Drake, and until the whole Quentin Miller thing came out,
they thought he wrote his shit, and they thought he wrote his shit.
Right, but we don't even know how long that was going on. So we don't know what
the fact that it goes on at all. You see what I'm saying? Breaks a certain code for a hip hop purist. That's it. I agree with that. There's justification for everything in this world.
Right, I agree with that. I'm just saying, as a consequence, no pun intended, that the artist that you love may have been inadvertently, when they hold too dear to that implication, may inadvertently cut short their own creativity. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I would love a new Slick Rick hot album. I don't know if that's in his composite at this point to do it, but I would love it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then we don't need to manufacture it falsely. Then is how I would feel about it. If I can't get that real Slick Rick shit, like. I don't give a fuck how good you rhyme, right? Like, you're not gonna fucking say the shit that Slick Rick can say. Like, just because of where he's from, being from, I said cheer up. I gave her a, like you're not going to say cheer up. You're not going to, just the word cheer up. Like, in the way I said cheer up. Like you're going to write a dope, it's going to have a dope punchline and all that type of shit. Right. But what made Slick Rick dope was the nuances that only he could have come up with. And so if he can't do that no more, I don't want no more Slick Rick. Just because the brand is, I don't want no more then. Don't be having somebody else write for him. She's a little cat face because he's hot right now to write for Slick Rick.
It doesn't have to be that line drawn. Also, just so you clear, it doesn't have to be that line drawn either. It can still be Slick Rick, and it can be contributing to the chorus or contributing to, why don't we put this little 8 bars right here? Like, there's a lot of this is art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to be. What I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be when you're dealing with, you have two sides of the coin. You have the culture, you have the business, right? At the end of the day, what my point is, I understand 100%, and I'm in agreement with you. I came up in the era I came up in, so I know 100% that when you are 100%. The guy, there is no question about it, right? But I'm saying in my music travels and just being able to have, I wrote for Puff. He was on my remix. I wrote it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote for Puff. I didn't look at Puff like, I looked at Puff like he did me a favor by letting me write it, because I wanted him. I wanted his energy. I did a remix to Whatever You Want with him and the Locks, and we was in the studio. And it wasn't like.
But we already know Puff don't write his shit.
Well, I'm just giving you an example.
I'll give you an example. It's implied that he didn't write it. You see what I'm saying? Like, Puff is the first rapper that it's like, it's implied that he didn't write it.
Right. Well, look, what I'm saying is, because you asked me about ghostwriting. So I'm saying, like, at the end of the day, it's like the same principality I was saying earlier about when we did our record. It's not, obviously y'all wrote y'all's, but doesn't make it clear. But what I'm saying is, when you're trying to get to a final product, and I wanted this to sound the way I wanted it to sound. So at the end of the day, so I step in and I say, let's do boom, 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 boom. And it's a collab. Most of the time, just to be clear, from what I have experienced, it's not like somebody just saying, here, read this piece of paper and do a voiceover. Nah, it's most of the time it's like, what you think it is? And boom, boom, boom.
No. It be like that sometimes. It be like that for these.
Read.
Read this piece of paper, but they'll go in the booth. They'll lay down that reference track. This is how you should say it. These are the inflections here, and blah 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 blah. Nah, you should say it more like this. Da da da. Then they give you the typed out paper, and then you go in there and you study that shit, and then you go in there and say this other man's rap. Like, that happens, bro. Like, that's just what it is. And I'm just saying, like, from where I come from, real niggas don't do that. But we could move on.
It's cool.
Real niggas don't say other niggas raps, like, you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. Like, at least you're the one writing it for other people, so it ain't you. Wait, have you ever said anybody else's raps? Have you ever let anybody ghostwrite for you?
Maybe not the script, but a couple lines, like not a couple lines though. Yeah, but for me it's collab. Like that, okay. I don't, cause I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, I've never. No,
right. You've taken a line.
Please give me some raps. Yeah. Please. Nigga, I know how to back this shit up and flip it. Nigga, please give me some raps.
That's what's up. I hear you.
Like, anybody watching this shit and you an upcoming ghostwriter, DM me, fam.
Tell me some. What are the most famous songs you've ghostwritten on that we would know?
I ain't gonna get into all that.
Oh, come on, bro. Like, why you not gonna toot your own horn? What, you got a NDA that got no non-disclosure clauses, agreements? And we'll see now. And then if you got an NDA, why? You see what I'm saying? Why? If it's so honorable and it's just part of the business, why do we have NDAs?
Look. I give it to you straight face.
You just said you wrote for Puff.
Because I don't have an NDA with Puff.
And so what I'm saying is the fact that an NDA, the fact that an NDA even exists kind of proves my point, because they don't want you to know. They don't want it to be known that they're not doing what their job description.
Yeah, but hold
up. Right? What their job description implicitly implies. See, if I said that I was a chef at a fucking restaurant, right? And they're billing me as the chef, and then you go back there and you find out some other nigga is really cooking the food. Right. This nigga is never, he's just the face of the shit. Which does happen,
but,
though.
All right, so then here's the thing, though, right? So then, great example. But let's say the chef is the chef, right? And the chef name is what draws people to the restaurant. So is the chef never supposed to have an understudy?
It's not that he's not supposed to have an understudy. I guess when he get mad restaurants and he can't be everywhere.
But that's the business aspect of it. That's
right, I understand that. I understand that.
That's what I'm saying about the privatized aspect of it. Because when the business gets to a certain level, you're gonna make the business is gonna collapse if you don't continue to feed the frenzy. It's going to.
Right, and the creativity is gonna collapse if you don't feed that. Right. So now if Emeril Lagasse if he's not cooking at least one of his fucking restaurants and he's just letting niggas cook for him and all his shits, he's gonna lose his fucking edge.